From cutbacks in our children's classroom to fewer guards to keep criminals locked up. It's all thanks to the state's shrinking budget.
But at the same time, agencies are spending millions on public artwork. Why? Because lawmakers are telling them to. Our Oklahoma Impact team takes a closer look.
We got an email from a viewer asking about the new artwork on some of Oklahoma's highways and bridges. He wanted to know where our broke state is coming up with that kind of cash. Oklahoma Impact reporter Jennifer Lauren found the answer.
When you drive into Oklahoma, we want you to know that you are in someplace special and that we as Oklahomans take great pride in that.
Over the past 2 years, as the state budget's been shrinking, a statewide art project has been expanding. More and more projects like these are coming to life on Oklahoma's highways. They're funded as part of a state law enacted in 2004 called the Art in Public Places Act. It applies to every agency, department, board, council, and commission of the state. When constructing new buildings and infrastructure or renovating the old, each organization must take 1.5% of the design and construction cost and reallocate it to incorporate some type of art. It applies to projects on state-owned property with a price tag of $250,000 or more. So far, 5 projects have been completed as part of the Art in Public Places program. This bridge over the Turner Turnpike with the Osage Shield was the first to be completed in 2008. When the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority rebuilt this bridge, it spent $120,000 on the mosaic-style art. The Turnpike Authority is not a state agency, but because the highways are state-owned, it falls under the art mandate. When the Grand River Dam Authority built this Ecosystems and Education Center in Langley, they spent about $60,000 on this terrazzo floor. It's an educational map of Grand Lake. In fact, every piece of art is required to contain an educational component. This bronze sculpture near the state capitol was funded when the state banking department put up their new building. The required cost, $145,000.
This, of course, is a pioneer man and a pioneer woman.
Oklahoma's Secretary of Agriculture, Terry Peach, is running his department with 60 fewer employees right now because of budget cuts. The artwork outside their new building cost $150,000. Can you think of anywhere that you would spend that $150,000 now?
Oh yes, if I had that $150,000 now, yeah, I'd have 3 more staff people.
Peach says ultimately he is happy to have the art. However, he does question the state's priorities in today's economy when people are losing their jobs.
I think when the economy's strong like it was when that legislation was passed, I think it was a great idea. Do I think maybe the legislature might look at it now and put a moratorium on it for a couple years? Maybe it's something they should look at.
But the director of Art in Public Places defends the program, pointing out the agencies are not required to spend any extra money. She says it's money already set aside for construction and could not be used on salaries.
I do not want teachers to suffer. I don't want us to be having to lay off police. But it is, it's like it's a different pot of money. It doesn't relate. It's apples and oranges.
But according to the state finance director, the money could be used on salaries in some cases, saying it's up to each agency, but there's always a chance, depending on how they get the money. He went on to say it's really up to the legislature and what their priorities are. He says lawmakers ultimately have the power to change appropriations. Compare Oklahoma to Texas. They don't have a public art program. The Texas Department of Transportation does have the option to spend money on highway aesthetics, but no more than 1%. This well-known art on the High-5 in Dallas cost $1.3 million, or 0.5% of the total project budget. There are more than 24 public art projects underway as part of Oklahoma's mandate, totaling just over $5 million. The artwork on this massive project near Tulsa's Hard Rock Hotel and Casino is costing ODOT $500,000. The art on this sound barrier along Tulsa's Creek Turnpike is worth more than $400,000. And the I-35 corridor in Norman will be completely transformed with art on 8 bridges, costing ODOT nearly $2 million. Williams says it will be worth it.
And I can absolutely promise you that by the time we get those bridges completed, people will come here specifically to see that.
In fact, Williams says Oklahoma could put itself on the map with public art, pointing to Chicago's public art display at Millennium Park. An economic impact study predicts it will bring more than $2 billion to the city in the next 10 years. There are no studies predicting what the economic impact of Oklahoma's art will be, but Williams predicts it will be significant.
We are a tangible sign of Oklahoma's unique history and spirit.
Jennifer Lauren, the Oklahoma Impact Team.
We asked Speaker of the House designate Chris Steele for his thoughts on this law. He says he supports public art, but says, quote, current budget constraints warrant a review of this law so we can continue to provide the core government services upon which Oklahomans depend every day, end quote. We'll be watching. For Oklahoma Impact, I'm Alex Cameron.
And ODOT and the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority are the only two organizations that can choose to opt out of the program.